Jambo Karibu, everybody. Jambo Karibu. My name is Dr. Ruth Vitamo Akumbu, and this is Jambo Dr. Akumbu podcast, bringing you cultural relevant multifaceted conversations and reflections intersecting education, entertainment, and business, committed to DEIB and cultural capacity building. Today, my guest is the wonderful and the beautiful Peres Owino. So, Peres is the writer and the director of Bound, African versus African Americans, winner of the Audience Award for Best Documentary at the Pan-African Film Festival. She's also an NAACP Image Award nominee for Seasons of Love, which was produced by Taraji Hansen. What I'm most excited about today is she is the co-writer of African Queen Njinga, currently on Netflix. I watched the whole season as soon as it dropped and absolutely loved it. And it did not hit me until I had a conversation with another friend that Peres was a co-writer of this TV series. So if you have not seen the TV series, please go and see it. Go and see it. She's a brilliant writer, and I'm excited that we're going to have this time with her today. So let's welcome Peres Owino. Jambo, Peres.
Sema dada.
Yeah, Jambo.
Sina neno mama.
I know like 3 words, so.
Oh, don't start then. Don't start because we can go in here. We can go deep. We can go deep with any language. We can go here, man. Like, Jambo Peres. Hello. Okay.
Yeah.
Usianze kama uwezi.
Oh, wow. It's so great to have you.
Oh, it's great to be had, I think.
Wow, it's been so long.
So, what's up, girl?
Wow, here we are. Oh, wow.
Right?
I am so like excited to have this conversation because it's like from the moment that the Queen Njinga dropped on Netflix, I just sat down and I dropped everything.
Hopefully you gave it those 2 thumbs up.
I did. As soon as I finished the whole series, I went on my social media.
Yes.
Like, I did not give it a minute after I was done to go on social media because I love everything African. I love I love the work. I love seeing the work and our history represented. I am a big Pan-African fan, so I keep my eyes out on everything that is African and or Black, right?
That's right. Yeah. When was the last time we saw each other?
Yeah. Wow. So I think the last time we saw each other was probably we met up on Wisher for something. That was a gazillion years ago.
Yeah. Pre-pandemic.
Oh wow. That was like pre-pandemic.
Yeah, man.
That was years ago. That was
years ago.
Yeah. So and since then I know when you did Africans versus African Americans. I don't think I got a chance to see it. Yeah, I don't think I got a chance to see it. And but I know of it. I think we talked about it a little bit, but I never got a chance to see it. Yeah, so congratulations on that. And
thank you.
Absolutely big congratulations on Africans versus African American, but on African Queen Njinga.
Yeah.
Like African Queen Njinga just grabbed my heart so dearly because lately when the Woman King came out, what happened was I had a lot of a pushback from people about the story and things, and almost as saying the history just it wasn't even, we know it's a fiction, but the attack came from a historical perspective, almost like, well, I read this other story, so I was like, I need to talk to an African historian. So I got in an African historian that came in and talked a little bit about the movie and her book that she wrote on African queens. And so my eyes now are like on high alert on any African writer that is talking about African story, reclaiming the African history or the African queens and things like that. So when I saw your stuff, I didn't know I didn't know you had a hand in it. I was just excited that Queen Njinga was being talked about. Njinga was being talked about. So I just jumped in and started watching, and I just watched the whole thing because I was just so excited and just glad to see it. And then I'm talking to this friend, like I was saying, and then they mentioned that, oh, you did something. Then I went back. I was like, wait, who's the writer of this thing?
Yeah. But I'm curious. I know this is about an interview about me, but I'm curious about what the historian said about Woman King.
Well, I have I think the series, I have I'll drop the link in the bio for anybody else who wants to hear it. But I think the key thing for her was that her book was one of the books that got consulted for the making of the Woman King. And the thing that I really wanted to hear was what was the role of the African queens and the kings in the slave trade. And her position was that in that time period, they were kingdom builders. And the kings made the decision. It wasn't like the whole of this African villages just decided we're going to just start selling our own. It was a strategic decision from the king, whoever the king was, in any place that slaves were sold or
Africans were sold, yes.
Right, Africans were sold, not slaves. Well, Africans were sold. That it was a strategic decision. It was never just some form of vendetta or just some of wickedness or just something that we did because it gave us pleasure, or the kings did at the time because it gave them pleasure. It wasn't. It was a strategic decision to build kingdom, to protect kingdoms, to maybe even reduce the impact of the colonizers and the enslavers and other issues in society at the time.
Okay.
So that was kind of that was nice perspective based on everything else everybody else was Googling and saying, and I think it came back to the whole thing where I felt like without the historians, people were pinning African Americans or Africans that were on the American continent, or Africans that were that had slave ancestry against the first generation Africans, or Africans that are on the continent. Because like there was that conflict where they'll be like, well, your ancestors sold us, like you people sold us, right? Which comes to
you should have watched that, yes.
Right, which comes that's African, yes, and I think I don't think I mentioned it, but it reminded me of just knowing the name African versus African Americans, and it kept reminding me of that, because it was like you had the foresight of this movie. I knew that if the story start coming up, we were gonna get like clashes between us, and you told a story about it, and I think that it's a valuable story. It is your work so far has been really intricate. The things that you are working on, especially with Bound and African versus African American. Now, which takes me, what is your main motivation? Like I've talked about me and my excitement and everything, but what is your main motivation?
One thing that I found that I enjoy doing is I like to get two people who find themselves in different parts of history, in opposite sides of history, and get them to sit at a table together and have a conversation. Mm-hmm. To put it in a nutshell, that's what Bound is. Mm-hmm. My stories, how can I put them? I have two buckets of stories that I tell. Like there's the projects that I call legacy projects, the ones that you want to leave behind, and then there are the ones you want to entertain. But I usually find that even when I go to try and entertain, it always ends up in some shape, way, or form to have a negative legacy. What is it that I want to say? But when it comes to Njinga, when it comes to Bound, those are very important to me because that's about the diaspora. That's about Africa and her children. And a conversation that I think needs to be had. It's 500 years in the making, 500 years in the making. And I believe it's very important that Africans and African Americans, Afro-Caribbeans, Latino Americans, Afro-Latinos have to take control of this conversation. We have to have this conversation, but I also don't believe it's a conversation that we need to have publicly. I feel like this is a very intimate conversation. It's a very intimate wound that we have to make space for each other to rage and to mourn and to cry and to not want to be African and to want to be African, that we should make space for every eventuality because there's a lot of pain that exists within this space. And each one of us manifests that pain in a very different way. And there's a pain that is uniquely diaspora, which is uniquely Jamaican, uniquely Trinidad, uniquely Haiti, uniquely Cuba, uniquely American, uniquely Colombian, Venezuelan, Brazilian. Each region is going to have its very unique pain because of its very unique experience. And then there's going to be a very unique pain that comes from the continent of Africa. There's a different pain from Anglo-colonized Africans to Francophones.
That's true.
Belgian colonized Africans. The experience of the Rwandan and the Congolese is very different from the experience of the Nigerian and the Kenyan. And the Kenyan had the white colonists living in there because they wanted to eradicate the blacks and make it a white country. The Nigerians had a different type of colonialism, which was more external as opposed to they were internally engaged, which is very different from South Africa that had to fight with the Dutch, then they had to fight with the English, then go back to fight with the Dutch. So each diasporic place, and then when you go to the Middle East, it's a different conversation with the Africans, or in India, the Africans. So the diaspora has a very unique history in that most of us ended up where we are outside of the continent, not by choice. It's very different that somebody was like, oh, I'm going to skip onto the Mayflower and go off to America and find, no African was like, oh my God, I am done with this, coconut tree. Now I'm going to go find one. We were not having those kinds of conversations. It was a ripping apart. It was a very violent experience. And that balance remains in the DNA. That pain is etched in there. And it's going to take a while to tease it out because it was not that was that one ripping was not the only one. Right. Once the tearing happened, then there was the walk into the dungeon, then there was the leaving the continent, then there was the pain on the ship, then there was those who, the trauma just continued. Then there was getting to the destination, the middle passage, there was the breaking, then there was going to the plantation. So there was just a constant dehumanization and a constant breaking of the soul. And that is imprinted throughout the generations. And we have to, the importance of knowing these stories, the importance of knowing Njinga, of doing the bounds, is to create a place where we understand each other's work as best as we can, because it's a difficult thing to understand sometimes because our own experience kind of comes in and collides with this. But to also make space so we are quicker to grace and slower to judgment with one another. We have to do that because the trauma, it's trauma meeting trauma, and then it's just right. It's also an understanding that when you come to the United States, and I can only speak as somebody who is in the United States, is to understand upon whose shoulders you stand. So then you don't come here and then start mouthing off nonsense, and you don't understand upon whose shoulders you're standing. Because if not for the civil rights, if not for Frederick Douglass, if not for Stokely Carmichael, if not for all these people, we're on boats. Yes. So stop for a minute. Check that ego there in the corner. And when somebody tells you, you're black, you're very different from the other one, he says, hold up. That's a teaching moment now. Because you have to realize that we were not brought here to conform. I always tell Africans, you were not brought here to conform. It's like walking into a burning house and saying, okay, I'm about to move in. You were not brought in here to conform. You are here to inform and change the conversation. You're here to pick your people, to give something, not to take so much. Because this world is going to hell in a handbasket because the West is leading and the East is not going to do any better. I can tell you that for free. And all the purpose of let the wise understand what you just said. Let the wise understand what you just said right there. That is because as long as you follow the pattern that's in place, then you don't understand the value of you being an African. You don't understand the value of you being the source. You don't understand the value of being old spirit coming in here and saying, this don't look right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you tell them why it doesn't look right. They might listen, they might not, but you have said it doesn't look right. You don't then come in and say, oh, I'm going to walk in here with my Louis Vuitton and do. That's a whole lot of mess. That's a mess.
That is so true.
You cannot come to the United States. You cannot be an African and come and see homeless people and be okay with that.
No.
That makes no sense. The word homeless does not exist in any African language.
No.
Go find it.
No, it doesn't.
It does not exist.
That was the first time in my life I had Peres. I was in Michigan, and my friend decided to take me for lunch before I moved to Minnesota. Mm. And that was the first time I saw homeless people and begging for food on the street. My brain couldn't wrap around it. And I had just come from from Cameroon, and I was in Michigan for about a month.
Yeah.
So that was the shock to me was incredible. I was like, why? What? You mean they're gonna sleep outside? You mean they're not gonna have food? You mean wait, and these people are mentally sound and everything? Even those that are not mentally sound in our African countries, somebody still tries to take them in. So it was really interesting to me.
And homelessness is everywhere. Believe me, homelessness exists in Kenya. We have a lot of street children. But the whole concept is we have to start asking the right questions, because we are, quote unquote, late in the game. Because, we are the third world. Yeah. But what the good thing about being third world is then you have the value of looking at the landscape and seeing, do I want to participate in that? Mm-hmm. Or do I want to change it? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because for me, sometimes when I see some stuff, I'm like, I don't know why anybody would want to be like, can we figure out how to have a different conversation? So that's what bound is.
Right.
Let's find a way. We see what the problem is. You know what the problem is. Right. So then come in here with a solution.
Right.
Don't add to the problem, and then don't sit and just talk about the problem. That takes us nowhere.
Exactly.
Find a way to solve it. It may be a small thing, but just add your little bit of solution to the problem. Because God knows everybody likes to talk about problems. It's very tedious, in my opinion.
I think maybe because everybody is so super educated here, people want to analyze and
define educated.
Yeah. Well, yes, define educated. Educated as in intellect, as in I have gone to school, I've earned a piece of paper, this is my level, now let's analyze and analyze and analyze. So we're following a textbook version of being educated, not necessarily being smart or street smart, learning how to solve problems, learning how to overcome, learning how to navigate challenging situations. We just think, what does the textbook tells me to do in this situation? And then we start cracking, which boils down to a lot of talk instead of a lot of strategy. Everybody has a strategy, but is anybody implementing these strategies?
But also, we have to also redefine what it means to be educated, because what you've said is a lot of stuff about how you educate that. But nobody's educating this. Where's empathy?
Yeah, the brain.
Where the class is in empathy.
Right.
Where the class is in learning how to talk to people you're uncomfortable with. Where is that?
Yeah.
But in reality, when you show up in a public space, the first reaction starts here.
Right. That is true.
You have to convince yourself. You have to talk yourself into stuff. Your first reaction is always here.
Yeah.
So where are those classes?
We do not offer those classes.
Yeah. About teaching people how to deal with trauma and how to not let your trauma present itself in the room. Fear. All this other stuff. How to walk into a room and gauge it in a place with a positive attitude as opposed to with a negative one. How your life is informing you everywhere you go.
Right.
And how you can switch that off and on.
Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And one of the reasons for me is because I tend to do a lot of things that have to do with history, because I think that there's nothing new under the sun. If you want to know what's coming ahead, just look behind. There's nothing new under the sun.
That's true.
And when you read all this historical stuff, I remember I was reading extensively about World War II. I was reading World War II like it was going out of style, man. And I was curious, like for real, I was curious. And because I was trying to figure out how an entire nation of 80 million people or something could be convinced to start a world war and the Holocaust. Like,
Yeah.
how does this happen?
Right.
And I was reading every book imaginable, written first hand, second hand, third hand, first perspective, God's perspective, you name it. I was reading everything. And I remember this, I was talking to a producer like 2 weeks ago. It's the first person who asked me, and it just came out of my mouth. And he asked, because I was telling him about this, he said, well, what was your general takeaway from it? And I said, I fundamentally learned something. He said, what? I said, that we're all Adolf Hitler.
Oh, wow.
And he said, what? And I said, wait, hold on. I said, give me a minute. That just slipped out of my mouth. And I said, fundamentally, I realized that we're all capable.
Yes.
Of doing bad.
Yeah.
It is the person who believes that they're not who's the problem.
Mm.
Because if you believe you are, then you spend your life making sure you're paying attention to the landmines. Mm-hmm. So you never become it. Mm-hmm. But if you believe you can never become it, mm-hmm. then you will become it and never realize you are it.
Mm. Yeah, wow, that's intense. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but if you know you're capable of both,
yeah,
if you know, because the problem with Western ideology, I believe, is black and white. Mm. Surprisingly enough, also that's how they define race, black and white. Most of humanity exists in gray.
Right, that's fact.
Mm-hmm. That's fact. Mm-hmm. Black and white, like good, bad. Oh, mm-hmm. This is a bad feeling. This is a wrong. This is a good feeling. This is a bad feeling. I think that's something very problematic. They're all human emotion.
Right.
But if you teach people how to process each type mm-hmm. and how to use each type to move in a positive way, fear is a wonderful emotion. But everybody says, don't be afraid. But if you look at a lot of things that humanity has created, it's because it's in response to fear. I want to make sure I see my mom. So thank you, Lord Jesus, for Delta Airlines that can put me on a plane to go see. See what I mean? Like, so it's understanding that there is no negative emotion. There's just a negative response to it.
Right.
If you figure out what you can do with it that mm-hmm. is positive, mm-hmm. then you're switching you're changing. What is that word I'm trying to look for? Because sometimes I'm writing things in 3 different languages. I'm like, English has taken a break. You have to do the paradigm shift.
Yeah, paradigm shift, right.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's so important as humanity to read across the board. Mm-hmm. To go read things from the East and read books from the Middle East, and because ideas are spread out. And so find them wherever it is they may be. And then you will find really what is the nugget of truth that you're looking for in your own life. And what I'm sharing is the nuggets in my own life.
In your own life, yeah.
I do not dictate this to anybody. I always feel it is very problematic to tell people how to live their lives because mm-hmm. it's like a butterfly. You don't cut the cocoon. Let it figure its way out. You know, if it's going to fall into a ditch, you'll be like, whoa, look out for that ditch. But you keep moving. Because if they want to fall in the ditch, they'll fall in the ditch, get up, have a scraped knee, and that scraped knee might inform them later on. But it's that's why I'm so anti-evangelism. It's not your job.
Right.
You don't know anybody well enough to know their destiny, and while they're walking the road, they're walking. Shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Let them walk.
Right.
You know. But that's my philosophy in life.
And even in evangelism, right? Even in evangelism,
don't get me started with religion. And it's too late in the day. We could be here for 5 hours.
Hey, but people still have to make their way even in that religion. So you are on the right path.
Do you?
Even in there, you gotta make your own way.
Do you? Yeah. Do you? I don't want to taint anybody with my own ideas. Do
right.
you?
Yeah, exactly. And let the path take you to growth, you know.
Because your journey is yours.
Yes.
You live your life.
Yeah.
Live it fully. I always tell people, let people live their lives as long as they're not causing any harm.
Yeah.
Let them do them.
When
they start to cause harm.
That's when you open your eyes and
now.
Yeah.
Now you gotta take a position.
Yeah.
And a decisive one.
Yeah.
Because I can't stand people who sit on fences. Let me tell you something about a fence. When war breaks out, the fence is the first thing to go. So
go. So true. I know you just said you don't want to touch religion.
Yeah, but touch
religion.
Isn't
it fascinating though how Queen Njinga was able to find her way, even using the Pope at the time?
Well, the thing about Queen Njinga that I love is she understood at some point she clearly understood who she was fighting.
Right.
And sometimes when you're fighting your enemy, you have to use all the tools your enemy has given you and figure out how each tool is going to be able to sustain you and how you're going to be able to survive.
Right.
And so maybe if it's in figuring out that, you know what? If I purport to be a Christian and the holiest of them, then I could get an audience with the Pope. And if the Pope is in charge of all these people, then the Pope can tell these people to leave me the goddamn heck alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think sometimes people don't understand the choices people make. Like, Christianity in Africa was a tool.
Mm-hmm.
People came for different reasons. People like David Livingstone, people like Richard, David Livingstone specifically said that the purpose of colonialism was to Christianize, colonize, and commercialize Africa. The 3 C's. Any African knows that. Well, at least any Kenyan knows that because we had to study that. Mm-hmm. Then you have Robert Speaker of the people who came to explore. They came and explored and then opened the way for Christianity to come in, and then it opened the way for the landowners to come in. Yep. It was like, what did late president say? When the white man came, we had the land.
Yep.
When the white man came, he had the Bible, we had the land. When he left, he had the land, we had the Bible.
That's right.
So there is that concept of it, and it is what it is in that regard. Mm-hmm. But each person has to figure out their way to it, through it, beyond it, whatever it is they feel like they have to do with it.
Right.
As I said, I am not touching religion. I could. This is just not the avenue for it.
No, this is not the avenue. We touched it enough on that because I really respected her ability to be flexible with the times in which she found herself.
You have to be to survive.
Right.
And that was the fundamental thing about this moment in time, because when you look at the story of Njinga, that is really, the diaspora is really now in full-fledged. It's being formed. Its bodies being moved out in mass. Mm-hmm. And you have those who are still like in that space where it is survival, where I have to save the little I can. I'm going to save this 50 people. And then they come for those 50, and then you're like, I'm going to save this 25. Then I'm going to send this 5. And then eventually you're also on the boat going.
Right.
So nobody gets saved in the end. Right. And it was all caused by people are like, well, why didn't they fight back? And I was like, well, you have people coming to you with gunpowder and Maxim guns. And I don't know what the situation was like. And I'm grateful that I was not in a position to make any kind of choices. But I will ask this question usually because I don't know. I can't look back there to figure out what's going on. But I can say unequivocally right now, today is March 28th, 2023. Mm-hmm. If on this day, today, China, Russia, the United States, Western Europe, Israel, Australia decided they were going to recolonize Africa, what would Africa do?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
What would we do?
Wow. I just saw history repeating itself.
We don't make any weapons.
I just saw history repeating itself.
Yeah.
A lot of us have good intents, but that doesn't do any good to anybody.
One of the reasons why I do what I do is because I'm hoping to stir up not just Africa, but the diaspora to understand that our birthright is that continent. Right. And that continent needs us.
Yeah.
It needs us. We're the only ones who can save it. I was watching this wonderful documentary where this woman was saying, I think it was a guy, was saying that everybody keeps saying that the West is giving aid to Africa, but when you really look at it, based on the resources the West is taking out of Africa, Africa is really giving aid to the rest of the world.
Absolutely. That's the real truth right there.
Yeah. But now, what I also love is what's happening in Africa is also the fact that we have the youngest population. Average age is 16, 17 years old. Yeah. And these kids in Africa right now don't give Fs.
They do not.
And I watch them sometimes. I'm like, what? There you go. I'm so glad I'm heading towards the grave. I'm leaving it to you kids. You'll be all right. You will be all right. Because they are all just pro. There's a sense of loving and belonging and ownership of the continent that is fantastic to see. And then if we give them the right tools, we just lay the foundations perfectly. and just keep handing it over to the next generation. We might not see it, but it will happen. I fundamentally believe it will happen.
No, it will happen.
I might not live to see it, but I'll know. When I'm standing with the ancestors, I'll be like, look at them, look at them kids. Kids just did. Ow. Let's wait for them to cross over. We got a big party. You know, Black folks always having a party.
I love that you said that, because my nephews, when I would go home to visit, and I would listen to some of the music they were listening to, and I was like, do these kids even know anything about their African culture? And then they eventually moved here, and they are the one teaching me about the music. They are the one teaching me about the dance move. They are the one. I was like, I was
Wait
like,
a minute. Why you know? Why you have to be taught? You ain't paying attention.
no, like like their generation. I still have to be. I'm still stuck with some of the music from my generation, right?
That's fine, honey.
But it's
which music are you talking about?
Huh?
Which music are you talking about? What are you listening to?
Wait.
Drop some names.
I am still a very big fan of like Manu Dibango. Listen to like all this.
Are you saying you're not listening to Fireboy?
See, no, I don't. Maybe I know music. I don't know which one Fireboy is.
Hold on, Fireboy. Listen, Fireboy. Listen, Peru. Hold on.
Peru.
Not even Peru. Hold on. Hold on. My favorite. Hold on. Somebody out there just making Fireboy. My favorite Fireboy song is Vibration. Have you heard that song?
I don't know.
Honey, hold on. We just you wake up in the morning and you start with this. Hey, Bobby. Hey, Bobby. All I want. I feel I can do it all night long. Come on.
Okay.
Hold on. I have to say this. Niger is showing up and showing out. I'm so proud of my Niger people.
You are so right.
I love my Niger brothers and sisters. Niger is just in this space and they're taking it and I'm loving it.
Yes.
And every time they drop something, I'm like, that's us.
Like Mwatiti, like
well, Davida is what? Davida is also Nigeria. Davida is Nigeria. I want to speak with Nigerian Ghanaian.
No,
Davida, I'm so sad Ebony passed. She was Ghanaian. Oh, she was so good. But the thing is this. It is very important for us as the diaspora, maybe not even the diaspora, as the continent of Africa, to be able to celebrate each other like this, because this is unifying the continent. Those borders that were put up, they were not put by us. So we may not be able to erase them geographically, but please, I tell my Africans, remove them from your mind. So when Fireboy drops something, you are there. When I don't care what is happening in South Africa, you're there.
Yeah.
You're lifting the whole continent. When something is going on in Kenya, Cameroon. Because let me tell you something. It was Kofi Olomide. We listened to Kofi. We don't know what Kofi Olomide was saying. We still don't know what Kofi Olomide was saying.
We're still dancing to it.
We're still dancing to Kofi. Surely, what is this man saying? Oh, nobody knows. We will mouth with Kofi all day. Shalom Wana, God rest her soul in peace. I don't know what she was saying. What is Vivian Bell talking about?
You don't know.
I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. But you know San Fan Thomas? Come on.
San Fan Thomas. Tell me about San Fan Thomas.
Hold on. What was that song that San Fan Thomas sang that everybody was like, San Fan Thomas, where are you? San Fan Thomas did. What was that song? And he was beautiful. Back in the day. We were young and we were like, oh, San Fan Thomas is so cute. And you were like 5 years old. You're like,
yeah. I gotta find San Fan Thomas.
Nawo. I think it's Nawo. I don't know what this man is saying.
I don't know what he's saying either, and I'm Cameroonian.
I know. And then he was like, where's the video? This man came into the scene and young African. I was like, oh my God, he's so cute. But what is he saying? We don't know.
And
I don't know.
he loves this song because when I was going from Kakamega back to on a bus, and I was going from Kakamega all the way back to Manila. No, to Manila. To
Nairobi. What were you doing, Kakamega?
Yeah, I was
not every day that I hear like, oh, I was in Kakamega.
Yeah. For the last 2 years, for the last 3 years, I've been working on this PhD. So
what's your PhD about?
It's cultural relevant education in Kisi. That's the topic. So what I did was I studied.
What's with you and Kisi?
Well, that's where I did my research.
Okay,
cultural relevant education. So I looked at the cultural relevant elements of education for Kisi's K-12 schools. So the whole idea was going back and looking at the culture of the Kisi people by talking to like teachers, students, administrators, and different groups, and even the really old people like in their 70s, and say, okay, finding out what are the cultural things that they value, and then seeing how those can be recommended, because I don't have the funds to go apply it, recommended for the schools there to apply, just to help the curriculum to be less Eurocentric.
Okay. I guess what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
because the Kenya education system, which is what I went through, is very how can I put it? It's not very cultural. It's not very like ethnic specific, because to apply it for the Kisi, that's very ethnic specific. But Kenya has 24 different languages, 30 ethnic tribes. So
42.
What works for the Kisi will not work for the Meru, will not work for the Kamba, the Kikuyu, the Luo, the Giriama, the Turkana, the Tegan, the Maasai, the Samburu, the Luya.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And that's why I was like, it cannot be broad. It can't be something like I just do all food. No, because of all of that. So I had to pick one tribe. Yeah. Which even in that tribe is like a small region in the tribe. And I figure it out for that tribe. And then if it's something that I have the funding in the future, then I'll keep extending it. But it would be nice to take the model and apply it in the school and see if there is impact. Yeah. Like if there is an impact because of the elements that are like really infused back into the child's learning, and then maybe other villages would want to follow the same model and infuse it and actually help our kids to be more culturally relevant in their learning. Yeah.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah.
I wonder whether that builds a more unified or a more segregated nation, though.
So it's the challenge is not quite a challenge, because when there are things that you guys have already laid the groundwork, where they have picked up things that work from across the tribes and they incorporated them into some of the lessons. So you're really good at trying to create that awareness by bringing up things like the rite of passage. You can read about the rite of passage books and things like that. So there are those elements that are unifying.
Yeah.
But they are also to a tribe. So I love to know about my tribal stuff. Like I want tribal stuff. So the curriculum, therefore, will just be enhancing a child's knowledge about their tribe,
about their ethnic,
background.
It's interesting because everybody has, I believe, because I have a group of friends of us who are from the same ethnic group, constantly passing out information about cultural norms, taboos, traditions, how to pronounce different things, words we didn't know existed.
Right.
And it's always heavily fascinating finding out who your people were, who your people are, not who they were, they still are.
Yeah.
Who your people are, and by unearthing what they believed. And it's so fundamentally important towards self-knowledge, in my opinion. But also, I think fundamentally, why that also becomes sometimes a bit of a problem is because this is really just one of the negative consequences, in my opinion, of colonialism, was this idea that you could group a whole group of people who have been living separate and put them into one country and then expect them to govern each other when their fundamental beliefs, their fundamental taboos, and their fundamental moral compasses are very, very different.
Yes.
That's you start to have the conflict about somebody who's like, well, what you're doing here is something that's completely against my people's beliefs.
Yes.
Then you have all those conflicts. It's fascinating. I'm curious to see Africa in 200 years.
Right. Yeah.
I'm curious to see where we will be.
Right. Like something like circumcision, especially for the females. It was dicey. Like that one was a very dicey thing for me to talk about in the country.
Why?
Because when I studied the Kisi tribe, my one takeaway was that the people were not very happy with the way that the government handled ending female circumcision. So it wasn't necessarily that there's quite a few of them that were all power to female circumcision. They still really believe in female circumcision, but there's also those of them that argue that the government did not know the purpose behind circumcision in general,
which
was a period when their girls were educated in the ways of, so it's a phase in the child's education. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't necessarily about the cutting of the skin. Mm-hmm. It was about the process of getting her from one stage of life to the next. And by just removing the cutting and banning it, it almost gave the impression to some of the villagers that your child did not need to go through that phase of preparation, that educational preparation phase. Mm. So that's where the pushback became. Like now our girls are not acting the way they would have acted, or they don't know some basic things that they would have learned during that period.
So did they assume, so when the government got rid of FGM, did the government say do not have the ceremony, or did the government say do not have the cutting?
That is why the few that were opposed to the idea, or that kind of had like a grievance towards the idea, was that the government did not say anything. He just said, stop female circumcision. But they are not saying that female circumcision was like perfect, we want to keep doing it. It's like, why didn't you sit down with us and let's figure out a strategy that will work for us after that particular action was stopped? Because when they say stop, it just felt like it was a stop for everything to do. Even the process of the learning, they didn't even bring that up. So some people assumed, or a lot of people assumed, that it was a stop of everything instead of just the cutting. So the government did not make it clear that it was just the cutting, keep up the process, which is why in creating change, it's important to always educate, right? You educate a little bit more about the change and have the people that are going to be impacted by that change fully involved. Yeah, and I took the bus. I was like, I'm taking the bus all the way to Nairobi. And the driver was playing some of these songs. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. So we go back to this. Where in age is we really have to make room for each other.
Yeah.
Look, let's listen to what our African brothers are playing out over here. Yeah. I'm loving things this is my favorite. South Africa is also everybody knows Jerusalem.
Jerusalem.
Do you know this song? I love this kid. He created a whole dance in which you just the dance where you just collapse.
Oh, see, you're educating me. I don't know that one.
No, you just have to take your Spotify or your Pandora and put, I don't know, just pick Davido or pick let's see, you just pick a singer. You can pick Davido. Davido probably won't give you. Yeah, pick Davido. If you pick Fireboy or you pick let's see, you just pick one of these singers. you'll see a mix that just starts to play, and then that's how you keep yourself up to date in what is the music that's playing. And right now it's just the Afro beats are it's the thing.
Yeah, it's like every day, every time I turn and I think I am caught up, something else is out that is new. And
you can never be caught up.
Amazing. Like, it's amazing. Like how quickly they turn stuff, but they are turning really good music. It's really not good music. Turning whatever, they're turning really good music.
Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to do what we always do.
What do we always do?
you give them an inch, they take the whole mile.
You take the whole market. They're going to take the whole market in music. They're going to take it. Like, it's just that simple. And they're so good.
But also it depends on your definition of the whole market. Because when I say about the diaspora, I'm not looking at just the music that's coming out of the continent of Africa.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the music that's coming out, Black people across the board. Like, what is coming out in R&B?
Yeah.
What is coming out? And it's just the whole totality of it all.
Yeah.
Even like when I sit here and people are like, do you listen to K-pop? I'm like, K-pop is really hip-hop.
Yeah. Have you heard? I don't know which band it is, but they have the Nigerian, the pidgin in their music. And it was a K-pop musicians, but they were playing sounds that were very Afrobeat with the pidgin language. Like, I saw that on Instagram, and I was like, "Whoa! These people can break down this pidgin this well." Like, if I wasn't really if the guy wasn't saying that the musicians were playing. They were Asian, I would not have known that.
Wait, what are you talking about? Because I feel some type of way about all this sampling that's coming out from people who are sampling. I'm like, are you giving credence to the people you're sampling from, Louis Vuitton, or are you just taking stuff? Listen, because we also have to realize that in culture, in the selling of culture, there's wealth.
Yeah.
Because they're not taking it and giving it out for free.
Right.
They're making money off of it.
Money from it. Yes. Yeah.
So is that money going back to the source?
Mm-hmm. Definitely not. Definitely not.
Because I'm big on that. I'm like, okay, you can do, but you better pay royalties to the.
Yeah.
Because we cannot keep having. See, the thing is, there's this expulsion that's coming out of Africa. There's the taking of bodies. There's the taking of gold. There's the taking of ivory. There's the taking of this. The taking of intellectual property.
Right.
We have to be very careful about that. Yeah. Because the most important thing is that your stories about you have to be told by you. You cannot let people take stories about yourself and go tell them. Because then you get written out of history.
Right.
Or written in a way that is not correct. That's why I'm in this space.
Yeah.
It's very important to me to fill this space. So when it comes to art, I'm always like, who's creating it? And I will take meetings and people are like, okay, we're going to tell this story. And I'm like, do you have a Ghanaian in the room?
Right.
While you're writing this story that's from Ghana.
Right.
I will ask, do you have a Ghanaian? I don't have to be in the room, but do you have a Ghanaian in the room? Right. You have to have a Ghanaian in the room.
Because and your Ghanaian experience are two different experiences.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to use the words. I'll be like, because we are not here for you to recolonize Africa's intellectual property. And once you say that, the room listens. Because I'm not here for that.
Right. Right.
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah. That is really a powerful thing. I was having the same conversation with my nephews. Yeah. Just Saturday, we were having this very conversation, and I was trying to tell them the importance of telling African stories in the right way, like Africans telling their own stories, or the importance of correcting some of the historical what they call facts that. Not actual facts. So, and he kept one of them kept pushing and saying, well, doesn't it happen in all society? I was like, but for the African society, we have the ability now to be able to change some of these things that were told about us incorrectly. And until you're aware that there's a lot of things that were told about you incorrectly, you're going to keep on letting people tell your stories incorrectly. So you need to be aware of it, so that when somebody is doing something, you're looking at that intellectual property of that thing. You're looking at it and saying, are they telling the story the way it's supposed to be told, or are they telling it from the way they see it? And and it was a very difficult thing for one of them to quite to grasp. But I felt that it was important to really emphasize it. And I used even my research, for example. I said, look, I went to Kenya, but when I go to Kenya, I'm not just going to do things. If somebody in Kisii tells me that this is something, I'm going to reference that person in Kisii who said it, because I don't want to just take their knowledge and, because I'm the writer of that paper, pass it up like I am the one who coined that phrase. So we have to be very aware and careful to make sure that people are credited for the things that they do, especially if you are an African. I hope it helped. So I hope that knowledge, they grab something from it. But I'm so glad that to hear you say it also, to really let our young people, even us, even the older people, sometimes we fail to really bring in the importance of these things in the writing rooms. Or do you feel, like, one question that was on my mind was, as a Black woman in the space today, right? Like you're taking your place to make sure that you reclaim some of this thing and create a legacy that other young Black women or Black men can build upon. But are there sacrifices you've had to make? For example, Queen Njinga, she made a lot of sacrifices just to get that stability for her time. As a Black woman in the industry, have you made a lot of sacrifices that you feel that were unnecessary if you were not a Black woman?
I think one of the things that most Black, African, Black, whatever you want to call us, people of minorities in this industry feel like the thing that they compromise the most is time. It takes us a lot longer to get into these spaces than, let's say, the average. So one of the things you spend a lot of time in is fighting to get in. Takes a lot longer. So there are some things you might have wanted to do that you're like, okay, so I'm not going to get to do that because I'm too busy focusing on this. And then, I think that's it. But in the way of but I don't think it's a compromise thing. I think it's just you make a choice. Compromise means I was given options and I decided to pick one over the other.
That's true.
And I kind of, if you've not figured out my personality by now, like when you said compromise, the first thing I thought of was Arthur Kate when she was asked, do you compromise? And she was like, for what? And I was like, where's my girl? I don't know. No, I had the privilege of working with really amazing people.
Right.
The team that did, oh my God, I can't even figure out where I am. The team that did Njinga, first of all, you have Nutopia on there. Right. And that's the thing Utopia does effortlessly, is they do docu-series that are based on fact. So they're not going to make anything up. They want to make sure it's factual. If it's not factual, it's not going to be in there.
Right.
So you have to do research. They have got armies of people who are researching, and everything has to be proved and double proved and triple proved. Right. So you have Nutopia there, you have Westbrook, they're on there. You have Netflix, who their thing is everything has to be excellent. Right. So you're working with producers like that. You're working with producers like that. The producer I'm working with right now, where everybody's interested in hearing the African voice. Right. So when you're in spaces like this, there's no need to compromise because they're coming to you and saying, "Who are you? Put it on paper." Right. Put it on paper so we see it. Okay, what does this mean? And you explain it. They're like, okay. And then they'll tell you, put it on paper. You're going to stand behind this as African, right? Okay, good. So you have to also be sure about who you are and what you're doing. Right. And that you have the blessings of the powers that be. I always believe in the blessings of the ancestors before I do anything. If the ancestors say no, I bow out. I'm like, this is not my project to do. Right. But if they say move forward, then I move forward. And I check in every step of the way. If I feel uncomfortable, and I'm like, somebody in the bloodline is like, this ain't right. And then we have to stop and be like, okay, who's having a problem here? Right. Almost feels like you're talking to ghosts, but you're not. You're just talking to the ancestral plane because they're right there. If there's anything I believe is that the ancestors exist because I am because they were. So hey, so for me, there's never any need to compromise because my purpose in life is not given to me. It's not my own. I'm not doing something for myself. Right. I'm doing something that I've been called to do. Right. I don't have a choice. This is what I was. My mother will tell you. I have been telling stories ever since I was a kid. Ever since I could talk. I was called to do this. I fundamentally believe that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no need for me to compromise. I just walk the road that is laid out before me by my ancestors. They say go left, I go left.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody says you need to compromise this, I'll be like, my ancestors are not have nothing to do with this, because they would never put me in a position where anything to me feels uncomfortable in my body, where I feel like I am shortchanging something.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's my fundamental belief.
That is powerful. That is really powerful. And coming being in an industry that is like I've been in the industry for 17 years, and I have been in situations where you were presented with a bad option or a bad option, right? So it is one of those things where
What did you do?
No, I walk away from both options.
Okay,
because I'm not gonna
you gotta put that in here, go. So people know what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So a bad option, I walk away. And it boils down to knowing who you are.
Exactly.
Really knowing who you are to the core. And you would go and say, okay, the ancestors is not going to align with this. Or I would say, yes, my mom will not accept this. My dad will not accept this. I will not accept this for me. And coming from a Christian background, I'll be like, that definitely does not sit with my values. So it's like, I have to know, even beyond my own faith, I have to know exactly who I am, what I am able to do, what I'm willing to do in every situation, what I'm willing to give up in every situation.
Hold on. How do you know who you are? Now I'm pushing back because you have conflicting ideologies. How do you know who you are?
So the interesting thing is when you
How do you know who you are?
I know who I am because first of all, I know from my Christian faith to one and my bloodline, my parents. So defining who I am is starting with my mother, and then I go backwards to my ancestor. So there is something in my bloodline, in my ancestry, in knowing where I come from that has formed the woman that I am. And then there is also something with knowing a higher power that allows me to traverse some type of difficult terrains in life and make certain decisions that I would not make if I didn't have the confidence and the faith and just the belief that there is a higher power that is guiding me. So those are my faith and knowing who I am as an African woman, the daughter of Pauline and Joseph Akumbo, the sons of Ndifon, the son of Visual of Afombwe, and all the way to the fourth or fifth, sixth, seventh generation, where they came from, why they came from, where they were, what they did, how they lived their life, the mistakes they made, what do I need to avoid, how would they want me to carry myself, and things like that. So all of those things completely put together are the things that make me Ruth Akumbo, right?
So I have a question for you. Do you know what your people believed before Christianity showed up?
Yes, they do. Like my family home, they had their own shrine where they would pray and make their sacrifices and their worship to the ancestors. They do have that. And then that was maybe up to like my grandparents. Then my grandparents became less, they didn't do a lot of the sacrifices. They started going to church more. But they still have that knowledge of who are my ancestors, what are the values my ancestors carry. And they do, like, there's this one thing that I grew up and my father would do, and it will be, we would do the tanganju. The tanganju is my truth. Before I leave for an adventure, before I leave for anything, it's like before, even after you say the prayer, you still tanganju, because you put like there's a little thing you put in your hand and you speak you will speak and speak and speak and speak and speak and speak. Like you will, if it's you're going for something and you're like, you speak Lord, or not even Lord, or you will just talk about, for example, if I wanted to go to a trip in Africa, right? And I knew that I was going to go to a place that was dangerous. So it was a trip that I have never been. I would talk about all the fears that I have, talk about all the concerns that I know might before me, all the troubles that might before me on the way. I would talk about if I have enemies, what my enemies might want from me. Right? And then I would say, my purity is this. I will state all the things that are pure about me, that I know are pure about me. How I have no evil in my heart for anybody. How I wish people well on my path. How I'm going to support people on my path. How I can be the best version of me on this journey. And then once I have spoken my truth, I will go to the door, I blow it out. So
what is your guys' creation myth? If you have one.
What was that?
Do you have a creation myth, like how your people came to be? Or no?
No, I don't think my tribe does. And if they do, I haven't heard of it.
What is fascinating about African philosophy and spirituality is Africans do not believe in a return to heaven. Did you know that? There's no African tribe that believes in a return to heaven. There's no original sin, and therefore there's no return. There's no need for grace and a return to heaven. Right. Your purpose is here, and then you move to the ancestral plane. Yeah,
the ancestral plane. Yes, and fundamentally, like if I talk to most people in my tribe, fundamentally, we all believe in the, that we will see our ancestors again. So it's not necessarily in heaven, in the ancestral plane, but we all believe that we will see our ancestors again.
Yeah, I'm always curious.
The libation, that's why we do the libation, because it's like they do libation for the ancestors, or the people that will speak in the water and then pour the water at the door. It's because they're asking the ancestor to travel with them and go with them. I think my one question would be, why Queen Njinga? Because that's Njinga. Queen Njinga is not the only queen, right? There is Queen Nina. So that's not the only queen in of the African queens. Why this queen? Why would
I think besides, I think she's one of the most famous ones across the diaspora, because you have to think she's famous in Brazil, she's famous in the United States. So across the diaspora, to me, I think she's one of the most famous. But I also think it's not just about fame, it's about the moment in time in which she lives. She is caught in this moment when the diaspora is really coming, it's really expanding, and in a very troubling way. And I think it's really important, especially if we want to talk in this moment in time about a story about Black people. This is the point in time in which all our stories are happening at the same time. Because just as much as the story of the person who's going to be dragged to Brazil or to the Americas or to the Caribbean is happening, so is the story of colonialism in Africa.
Right.
So it's such a pivotal point in human history. The colonialism of Africa is happening right at the same time as the diaspora, the spreading out, the enslavement of Black people. And I find her to be a very complex character who speaks really to about not only the strengths, but also the frailty of humanity, about the dangers of putting people into a corner so that they make, as you said, compromises.
Right.
And I always believe a compromise is a choice between two bad choices. And I feel like that's where she was. Right. What I liked about this story also was, in reading the book, it's the first time I've seen anybody in writing, and it wasn't surprising because it was written by a woman, written by a Black woman, is she addresses the mental health of how the king before her died of depression, and his father before him died of depression, and potentially for her brother is potentially suicide. And it gets you to think, what happens to a head of state? What becomes of him when he can't protect his own people?
Right.
And that's the reason why there was a specific line that I had to make sure I put in there, which is when he says to his sister, I cannot lose more than father did. You know, because that shows its importance is I have to maintain the kingdom. And I cannot lose more than father. And Njinga says, but when you make this choice, I can't remember what choice I was making, it was in 2.5 years, a year and a half ago. But when you make this choice, you will lose more than father ever did. And to show that for these people, maintaining the kingdom, maintaining the people who will worship their ancestors was really important. And they were losing that. And the moment you lose that, when you lose a people, you've lost everything. Nobody's going to be there to remember their ancestors. You've literally lost everything.
Right.
As a people, you're gone. You're erased. And we don't know how many ethnic groups in Africa were erased because of the slave trade. We don't know.
Right.
How many people just disappeared that used to be.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. I love this one line that I saw in the advert. I went back and looked at the advert, and it says that we are a people born running from extinction.
Yes.
And that line,
that's Nene.
Yeah,
Nene, that's the Nene line. Yes.
Yeah, that line just hit me so hard because I have, like, my tribe, like, it's not an origin story as in the creation story, but it's an origin story as in my tribe had to move and travel to where it is today. And I have often argued that my tribe probably was running from something, because nobody sometimes they move in search of better lands and things like that, place to graze and grow. But it just felt to me like the tribe was running. People were moving away from war, from colonialism, from being captured as slaves, and
from the ocean, basically.
From the ocean, moving in. So, and it just hit me because there's so many times where people are like, well, Africa is this, Africa is primitive, Africa is that. And I'm like, wait until your own people have to keep running for their lives and surviving and growing.
You know, when somebody says Africa is primitive, then I have to ask you to define civilized. How is that working for you?
That is a really big topic that I just clicked on right there, though. Like the whole primitive talk is stupid.
Well, you know, because, you know, whoever colonizes you gets to define who you are. Whoever sells you, whoever wants to sell you a snake oil is going to put it in a bottle and call it whatever he wants. Exactly. So if it's like, somebody says, you're primitive, I'm like, define for me civilized. I'm curious to see what this definition is and how is that working for you?
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, when you think about, I always use coconut oil because coconut oil to me, I think distills it down to its basic essence. When we were kids, your mother would put coconut oil on your face, on your hair, on your skin. It was just coconut oil everywhere. It was raw coconut oil. You know, the one that still had the smell?
Yes.
And then you became a teenager and you're like, I'm not interested in all this stuff. I need to use Nivea or whatever the heck it is. And then you come to the West and everybody has discovered what? Coconut oil.
Yeah.
So you had the coconut oil the whole damn time. But you thought, you know, Nivea, this perfume thing that's giving everybody cancer was the way to go. Yeah. Then you realize, then they discover, oh my God, this coconut oil has actual properties, which your mother already knew and your grandmother already knew. So I feel like this whole idea of being civilized is really, civilization is just about to sell you product. That's nothing but capitalism. It's supposed to sell you products that get you either obese or dead. And then they revert back to what they've known. Oh, the avocado. What? The coconut. What? But Africans have known this all along. But we let ourselves be programmed to believe that we don't have anything worth being followed for, so we follow. When we realize that, no, you're the oldest continent. So which means everything here has probably been tried and true. Your people have been doing this because it's been tried and true through generations. Yeah. That's a great. We don't need you don't need it to be lab tested. We don't need to test this on an animal. They have tried this for generations. Yeah. So that instead of coming to America and saying, I'm gonna try this, no, be like, no. How about you try this Sheba oil? Right. Yeah. How about you try this coconut? Somebody's handing you stuff like, wait, I remember when somebody gave me a Twinkie and I was like, what is this? That's not even food. That, you know, it's got, and I'm joking because, you know, America has its positives, but it has its negatives. But so does Africa. So do we, you know, so spaces. So come and figure out what you can add to the conversation, because not the whole conversation is not healthy.
Right.
There's some things about the West that are completely unhealthy.
Right.
And then that's where you come in and you be like, I don't think what this choice is the best choice. How about we try this thing? Because, my mother used to do, and that's going to help all of humanity move forward. You know what I mean? Because right now, I feel like humanity is struggling, and maybe it's just me. But I feel like humanity is struggling.
Yeah.
There's a complete imbalance in the system. There's a complete inequality, whether it is gender inequality, whether it's racial inequality, whether it's sexual orientation. There's just a complete inequality. And we can't be okay with that.
No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't be okay with that.
Especially we as a people who are raised community, we always taught to be community minded. We cannot be okay with that. Like, I got mine, so I don't care. That is quintessentially, in my opinion, not how a people survive.
Right. I agree.
And I'm talking about as a human race.
As a human race. Yeah.
That's not how people survive.
Yeah.
Because if you don't take care of the least of you,
yeah,
ain't nobody going to take care of the rest of you.
No.
Period.
No.
Full stop.
Yeah.
History teaches you that.
Yeah.
The weak one amongst you has to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's all downhill.
Right.
For the rest of us.
It's like, can we bottle that and put it in the history book, in a text, in a leadership book, and then let it go? Because it's like what you just said about the African way tested. It's like, look at our villages. They are surviving not because of how the government is being run. It's about how the local tribal chiefs and systems are working. Why can't we mirror that system across our nation and use that as a new form of leadership for us, or a form of leadership that has been working for us, instead of bringing in these new leadership styles, democracy, this crazy, that crazy, that crazy, and then all of a sudden we are in more of a mess than we were.
I love that word, democracy. I really do.
That's a topic for another day, huh?
No, it's just you have to always check a source. Where is a thing from, and what does the person who created mean?
Yeah.
That's why I keep telling people you got to study history in every sense of the word. Figure out what these words mean and who coined them and why.
Right.
Like, I love it when people are like, I read the Bible, the King James. I'm like, that's the name of a leader, yeah. So why would you put the name of a leader in a spiritual book? Yeah.
Sorry. Hey, so I know we can go all day, but I want is there something that you're working on that I should keep an eye on?
God, there's always stuff we're working on. So I think there's supposed to be season 2 of African Queens is going to pop off at some point. I'm not quite sure. I'll let you know. And then the other stuff, in this industry, there are things you don't even talk. There's stuff being worked on, but you're not authorized to say anything. So you just say there's stuff happening.
Okay. So we should just keep an eye out. But that's
keep
good.
Keep an eye out.
That's good news. Season 2.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Keep an eye out. There's stuff.
Okay.
Happening. Yes.
All right. So
I will let you know.
I appreciate you. And
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me, my dear.
Absolutely. All right.